Alright, so look, 2020's been shitty. I know y'all already know, but I'm gonna just tell y'all anyway, cause this shit is ridiculous. Corona, riots, this police shit, everything. And being the millennial I am, it had me thinking back to a much simpler time. The early 2010s, what a time. Middle school, high school, back when you didn't have to worry about anything, really. All you had to worry about was how good your My Player was. Shit like that. Good time. And not only was Wayne still in his prime, Obama was in the White House. Look, social media was just taking off. We had an argument for months about the same picture of a dress being black and blue or gold and white, son. Oh my goodness. I say all that to say this. The 2010s were great, and the NBA in the 2010s were even better. So today I'm gonna give y'all the top 5 most unexpected iconic moments of the 2010. Basically a bunch of stuff in the NBA that wasn't supposed to happen. All right, we get it? Bet. At number 5, Lin Sanity. This could honestly be number 1. That's how ridiculous this is. Jeremy Lin was the best player in the league for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, this man was untouchable. Reincarnation of Jordan. I don't know what happened. It's like he got the Jordans from like Mike or something. I have no clue what happened, but I remember it like it was yesterday, 2012. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna give you a little rundown. In the middle of the season 2011-2012, the New York Knicks randomly picked up this undrafted Asian kid from Harvard, bruh. He played a little bit, he was alright, I guess, I don't know. Then Melo and Amari get hurt, and in February, against the Nets, Jeremy Lin drops 25 and 7. And I know what you're probably thinking, but it's only one game, oh my god, you're overreacting. And that's what everybody was probably thinking back then, but no. The next game against the Jazz, 28 and 8. Next game, he busted a prime John Wall in 2012, gave him a 23 and 10, crossed him, dunked on his ass. The next game, Kobe and a prime Lakers team came to Madison Square Garden, and Jeremy Lin gave them 38 and 7. What? They're winning all these games, by the way. They haven't lost yet. Next game, he hits a game-winning 3 with 0.5 seconds left against the Raptors. At this point, it's getting a little fishy. What's going on, Jeremy? You taking steroids or something? I don't know, but this don't make sense, my guy. Long story short, he went 8 and 1 in this stretch before Melo came back and ruined everything. Needless to say, he was the best player in the league. He was busting everybody. Lin Sanity was legendary, and I know nobody saw that coming. So that's why it's in this list. At number 4, we got the Warriors dynasty. If you had polled the entire world and asked the question who was going to be the next dynasty after LeBron left the Heat in 2014, I don't think anybody would have said the Warriors. That year in 2014, Steph made his first All-Star team. And in the next year, he won MVP. Like what, bruh? So he wins the MVP and the championship in 2015. The next season, they have the best regular season ever, 73 and 9. And we're a game away from repeating. And I would argue if Draymond didn't get suspended, they would have definitely won back-to-back that year. But because LeBron beat them, guess who wants to join the 73 and 9 team? Mr. Kevin Durant. And we all know what happened after that. There was no point in watching basketball for 2 years. It just wasn't fun. They were unfair. It was as if they took Kobe and Shaq's Lakers in the early 2000s and just threw him KG in the middle of his prime, son. And without injuries, they would have easily three-peated. The Raptors weren't winning that shit. I feel like people forget how shocked the world was when KD announced he was going to the Warriors. It had been mentioned before as a possibility, but everybody just said nah, because why the fuck would he do that? People really brushed that shit to the side, son, and it really happened. But yeah, the Warriors went from a generic playoff team to a year later, starting one of the most unstoppable dynasties ever. At number 3, Ray Allen's Game 6 corner 3 against the Spurs. This only being number 3 just shows you how ridiculous the past 10 years have been. This is probably one of the top 3 most iconic shots ever. Remember the circumstances. If Ray Allen doesn't make that shot and the Spurs win, the Heat would have gone 1 for 3 in the finals in the past 3 years. There would have been no dynasty. The Heat would have possibly broken the team up, and LeBron would only have 1 ring instead of 3 potentially. So it was iconic for those reasons, but it was also iconic because they had already rolled out the trophy onto the side of the court. I feel like people forget that. The game was pretty much over. Bandwagon fans had already left the arena. The Spurs were up 5 with 30 seconds left. It made no sense that they didn't close that out, especially because it was the Spurs. A couple missed free throws, LeBron hits a 3, and then Ray Allen hits a shot. Then the Heat win in Game 7 in its history. The funniest thing about this, though, is the fact that there was a report they were still taking the champagne out of the locker room, son. I would have cried. They had that shit prepared way too early. I honestly feel like if that were me, and I saw that, I would have randomly picked one of the servers with the champagne, and I would have Jackie Chan kicked him in the kneecap. Tore his ACL, I don't care. I would have had to take my anger out on somebody because I would have been mad as fuck. So since that iconic shot was only number 3, the top 2 are probably 2 of the most unexpected moments in NBA history. Starting with number 2, the Cavs coming back from down 3-1. The Warriors were pretty unbeatable that whole year, 73-9, and they found out that 3 points are more than 2, so they shot a bunch of them. And with the first best and maybe the third best shooter ever, it made sense to shoot a bunch of them. So when the finals came around, even though the Cavs had LeBron and they were healthy, I don't think many people picked them to win. And then in game 1 and game 2, the Warriors won by 25 and then busted the Cavs by 33 in the second one. So at this point, it's looking a little slow for the Cavs right now. It's looking slow. And then in game 4, as the Warriors are about to go up 3-1, the Cavs are pretty much getting written off at this point. Many people thought the series was over, but then something ridiculous happened. At the end of game 4, LeBron saw Draymond on the floor and was like, hold on, let me disrespect this man real quick. Let me step over him like AI. And Draymond said, I'm not going like that. So he may have hit him a little bit as he was stepping over. But did this really warrant a flagrant or a suspension? Let's be real. LeBron hit up Adam Silver that night and was like, look, Adam, I'm gonna need you to suspend Draymond at least 1 game, maybe 2 if you're feeling generous. I appreciate you. And Adam Silver said, yes, sir, Mr. James. And you want anything else with that? And LeBron was like, nah, you straight. But if we down 20 in game 7, just cut the lights off or something. So yeah, Draymond gets suspended. On top of that, Bogut gets hurt. So we get to game 7 and LeBron has the iconic block. Kyrie has the iconic shot. And just like that, LeBron comes back from 3-1 down and beats a 73-win team. It's fair to say nobody thought this was going to happen. And this was by far the greatest accomplishment of LeBron's career because of that. But unfortunately, number 1 was even more unexpected. And LeBron just happened to be on the other side. And that was in 2011 when the Mavs upset the Heat in the final. The only people that thought the Mavs were going to win that series were the people in Dallas and the people in Texas. No one else. The Heat had 3 of the 4 best players in the series and the best player. No one thought LeBron was going to perform the way he did. And honestly, no one thought Dirk was going to go off the way he did either. It was a one-man show for Dirk. There were no other stars on that team. Jason Kidd was old and everybody else was pretty much role players. So for him to take that team and bust the Heat like that in 6 games immediately launched him into a discussion for one of the best power forwards ever and probably a top 20 player ever, along with one of the greatest playoff series and playoff runs ever. He was hitting big shot after big shot. It was ridiculous. Nobody could stop him. Chris Bosh was getting embarrassed. In terms of how iconic it was, LeBron may not be the same player without that series. After that series, LeBron turned into a different animal, dominated the East for the rest of the decade pretty much. So LeBron better buy Dirk a new car or something. And he better buy Adam Silver something too.